While pop music today is still a very dominant genre, the 90s and early 2000s brought us some very memorable and also somewhat forgettable songs lost to time. By 1999, all the way up into the mid-2000s, we were still riding the waves of Britney Spears, NSYNC, and the Backstreet Boys. Every time you turned on your radio or television, you just could not escape the masquerade that was the height of pop music. As someone who loves discovering new and old pop songs, even songs or artists that never got a chance to shine, the production influences style, and of course, the label is trying to make direct carbon copies of acts such as Britney, Christina, Backstreet, and NSYNC back in the day. It's just all so fascinating to me. One song that will stick with me today is a catchy tune called So In Love With Two, a hit from an artist called Mikaila. Mikaila Dominic Enriquez was born December 15th, 1986 in Edmond, Oklahoma. According to Wikipedia, she is best known for her role as Melina Finch in the PBS series Wishbone.
What's the story, Wishbone?
What's happening to that extra snap?
Ellen! And to think I trusted you!
I've never seen Wishbone, nor do I know what the heck it is. I guess it's about a dog or something. The article also states that she had begun singing at the age of 3. She is French, Spanish, and native Mexican descent. She was also a member of City Church. She began singing gospel music for the church she attended. Her parents, a year later, at the age of 4, would enroll her into vocal lessons. Needless to say, she had quite the experience when it comes to singing. She would later move to Dallas, Texas with her family, where she would become a regular performer at Texas Ranger games. At what point in her life is unclear, but she would also head to New York City to have meetings with several record labels. During the search for a record label to sign the young artist, she would meet Barbara Cameron, the mother of former Growing Pains star Kirk Cameron and former Full House star Candace Cameron Bure. Yeah, I actually hope I said that name right, would become her agent. Later, Marty Rindleman would eventually become her music manager. Her acting career would begin in 1997. This is where she would have her casting role during season 2 of Wishbone. By 1998, she reprised her role in Wishbone's Dog Days of the West, a television film that aired on March 13, 1998. Between 1996 and 1997, Mikaila also recorded 2 gospel albums, This Little Light and Dreams. I've never heard these albums at all, but occasionally they do float around on eBay and Discogs on CDs and cassettes. By 2000, at the age of 13 years old, she would leave her previous record label, Union Records, where she had recorded her 2 gospel albums and later signed to Island Records, a big step in the artist's direction. Her first song to be released from the label would be the single So In Love With Two. So In Love With Two would hit number 29 on the Rhythmic Top 400 Billboard charts, number 25 on the Billboard Hot 100, and number 27 on Billboard's Top Mainstream. During this time, her fan base would more than likely shift to those who enjoyed artists like Britney Spears, which she would later open up for on her Oops, I Did It Again tour in 2000. The single So In Love With Two was produced by Norwegian hit production duo Stargate. The production duo was also known for producing songs for acts such as LFO, S Club 7, Cisco, and Boy Band 5, to name a few. They also did some work with a girl group called Mystique back in the day as well. The song is about a girl who has feelings for 2 guys and can't decide which one she wants to spend her life with or which one she wants to fall in love with. Now, I know what many people are probably thinking, isn't that a bit mature for someone her age? Well, yes, but this was pop music at the time and labels really didn't give a shit. And I think Mikaila was trying to do this whole thing similar to Aaliyah, where she didn't want people to focus on her age but the music in general.
Because that's what Aaliyah has told us. That's her new debut album, right? Yes. But you won't reveal your age, will you?
It's a secret, but I'm in my
come
teens.
on. You're in your teens.
Yeah, I give that up. I'm still in high school.
During this time, she would have several interviews, which also helped with the hype of her self-titled debut under a major label, kind of.
My album, I have been working on it for about a year now, and It has a lot of variety on it, which I think comes partly from the fact that we worked with so many different producers and everything. So we went to Sweden, and we went to Norway, and we went to New York and California, and we got a lot of different types of music on there. So it's got a little bit of Spanish influence and R&B and pop, and then of course you have your ballads and everything. So I think it all comes together really nicely in the end, and I think that the album is actually what probably would separate me from some of the other female singers out there, because it's a little bit different.
By March 6, 2001, this would also mark the release of her full self-titled debut under a major label, that is. This would be her third and final record. In advance, to help promote the record, she would also perform at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and on Fox Family Channel's Front Row Center concert series. The album would peak at number 20 on the date of March 24, 2001 on the Billboard Top Heat Seekers chart. During the album's release, a second single was later released titled It's All Up to You, which was a very beautiful ballad. I really wish the song would have took off. But yeah, that would be released sometime later in 2001. Quite a beautiful ballad if you ask me, and it's really a shame that it didn't hit as well with the masses as So In Love With 2 did. I think for the year this record came out, we were still in that party mode for pop music. So, that whole party like it's 1999 type deal, we were still kind of riding the wave of that as well. And this is a little bit before the tragic incident of 9/11. The album was met with a few critical reviews, with AllMusic's John Aspire giving the album a 3 out of 5 stars, condemning the album for bringing a much needed dose of hip hop to the teen pop genre, which was definitely something Mikaila was going for. She had mentioned in an interview, which you guys had just seen in the previous clip, that she wanted it to be kind of this nice mix of Latin pop, R&B, and hip-hop, and I personally do not feel as if she missed that mark. This album, in my honest opinion, really should have took Mikaila to levels to that of Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, and I feel as if she really is kind of like this artist of her own, really. She doesn't really reflect neither Britney or Christina. I mean, yes, the musical production style on some of the songs maybe do, but this is where I kind of feel that the problem lies within the album. And it's not really the album itself, but mostly the record label. This is something you may hear time and time again, but during 1999 into the early 2000s, labels were scrambling to put together the next Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera, or the next big boy band, girl band, or girl boy band. I unfortunately feel that this is the case with this record and many of these pop artists who really didn't have any control at all. I do recall reading on a forum that I can no longer find back in the day that Mikaila supposedly dipped out of the music industry because she didn't want to be a Britney Spears or Christina sound-alike, or she didn't like the way that they were having her dress up, something along those lines. I do recall reading, but I cannot find that forum anywhere where somebody had mentioned that, but she definitely is her own type of artist, and I personally view her that way. I don't view her as a carbon copy. I know that's what the record labels were wanting, but that's just how the music industry is. I think it still is. It's nasty. When you sign those contracts, you do what the labels tell you, essentially. I mean, you don't have any control. It sucks. So what happened? Well, leading up to this point, it's going to sound quite simple. I think the masses just viewed this album as another Britney Spears / Christina Aguilera knockoff record. I feel that for Mikaila's age, though, the album was definitely very mature and the songs still hold up quite well even today. I'm not somebody who's going to say that this sounds outdated or anything, because I literally live in the 2000s and pop music is all I really listen to, especially from the 90s and early 2000s. But to me, this album still sounds quite fresh, and I think it definitely was a breath of fresh air when you compare it to other records that were released during this time. We had production duo the Neptunes, who were also up and coming, who not only reshaped pop and hip hop, but the foundation of how it's produced. Now, it was very simplified, especially with the work that they did on Britney Spears' I'm a Slave for You. In a way, I wouldn't say that this record is a pioneer of hip hop and pop music becoming one, but a lot of the tracks on here have that edge to it. and it really does fit the time. It's truly a perfect balance between R&B, pop, and hip-hop. So let's talk about the songs on this record. While the single So In Love With You is very much along the scale of that of a typical bubblegum pop track for the time, it tends to be a bit edgier and definitely very risky with the lyrics. It's definitely not the best track to showcase Mikaila's vocal capability, and it's also quite a very mature song for her age. Obviously, you know, we just covered that. But the ballads, It's All Up To You and My Heart Can't Let You Go, definitely showcase her vocal range for someone her age. In some of the ballads, she shifts between something along the lines of Christina Aguilera with like this pinch of Mariah Carey. And I really want to emphasize the Mariah Carey part. It just kind of has like that Mariah Carey-esque flavor to it, if you know what I'm saying. So take that as you will with a grain of salt. Then you have songs like My Dream Is Gone, a personal favorite of mine that is very hard hitting with orchestra hits, a staple of 2000s pop at its core for sure. You cannot have a pop song from the 90s and early 2000s without them signature orchestra stabs all over the place. Every 4 to 8 to 16 bars is just not a pop song without those. To follow along with that, I think another personal favorite of mine is definitely Emotional. That seems to be a fan favorite here. It's a really good mid-tempo track, very reminiscent of Mandy Moore, I would say. Very mid-tempo. The lyrics are really, really well written. The song is just very, very catchy to the ear, and I really, really, really enjoy that song. I think it's definitely, you know, if you've never listened to a single song on this record, I would definitely say that's a first I would go to. But if you want something with more of like a Britney Spears-esque flavor, I would definitely go to like My Dream Is Gone, and obviously the lead single. Well, I could go on forever and talk about Mikaila's debut album under a major record label. There's just so much to cover with it. Honestly, I think every single song is perfect and holds its own in some way, shape, or form. It's definitely a record worth checking out if you've never heard it before. And I also want to say thank you so much for checking out this video. I mean, if you made it this far, that's amazing. Could you please give this video a like, comment, and I don't know, maybe subscribe to this channel. You know, I'm kind of new to this, and I'm just trying out some new things. So, you know, if I missed anything, feel free to comment below. You know, give me some feedback, some information. Maybe there's something I missed. Maybe I went a little too fast, or maybe there's some things I missed over. But, you know, I really do appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.